Settle in and let your mind soften. Tonight, we are going to drift through the quiet history of Minecraft, a world that feels simple on the surface but carries an ancient silence underneath. A world where every mountain, every abandoned hallway, and every soft block sound hints at something older than the player, something forgotten. Minecraft has no narrator, no official history book, no voice that tells you what happened long before you spawned in for the first time. And yet, every piece of this world feels like it was touched by hands that came long before you. There are ruins scattered across oceans, strange portals built with impossible precision, and structures buried so deep underground that they almost seem to be dreaming beneath the world. In this video, we are going to explore that dreamlike past, slowly, calmly, gently enough that you can let your eyes grow heavy as you listen. We will begin in the overworld, walking through the untouched wilderness. Then we will follow the faint trail of the ancient builders. We will step through a nether portal and feel the shift in the air. And eventually, we will rise into the end, where the final fragments of this forgotten story wait in the quiet void. So take a deep breath, let the overworld sky settle overhead, and let the lore of Minecraft guide you toward rest. Your story begins the moment you first open your eyes inside the overworld. Nothing speaks, nothing explains. There is only the sound of wind moving through blocky trees, the rustle of grass, and the gentle rhythm of your footsteps. The overworld feels peaceful, almost childlike. Rolling hills, soft rivers, bright green fields that stretch into the horizon without interruption. If a world could breathe, this one would exhale slowly, like it has been waiting for someone to return after a very long time. Animals wander without fear. Cows graze as if they have always been there. Sheep stand quietly, blinking with blank calm. Everything gives the impression of a place that existed long before you arrived and will continue long after you rest. But if you look closely, the overworld does not truly feel new. It feels empty, not untouched, not freshly made, empty. Trees stand in perfect patterns, almost too perfect. Caves twist in unnatural shapes. Minerals sit in clean layers, like someone arranged them with purpose. It is as if the world was built with a set of rules, placed carefully, and then left behind. This emptiness carries a quiet mystery. Who shaped the mountains? Who carved the rivers? Why does the world follow such precise laws, as if written into the land itself? The overworld becomes even stranger below the surface. When you walk into a cave, you can feel the temperature shift. The echoes become deeper. You notice abandoned corridors, mine shafts suspended over empty pits, and torches you never placed. Someone else walked here once. Someone with purpose. Someone who is gone now. Every hill, every forest, every ocean carries the same soft question, spoken without words. Who lived here before us? But the overworld does not answer. It simply breathes, quiet and patient as the sun begins to set. Blocks glow with warm orange light. Shadows lengthen. The world relaxes into night, and you continue forward, deeper into its silence. As the daylight fades, the overworld settles into a different rhythm. The sky deepens into a dark blue, then into black, sprinkled with quiet stars. The moon rises slowly, gentle and pale, casting a soft glow over the land. Everything becomes still. This is when the world begins to show another side of itself. Not hostile, not chaotic, simply ancient. Night in Minecraft has a way of reminding you that this world was not built around you. It was not made to be safe. It was not made to be comfortable. It feels like you stumbled into a place that is following rules set long before you arrived. The creatures that emerge after sunset seem to belong to a different story. Zombies wander with slow, dragging steps, like memories of something that used to be alive. Skeletons move with an unnatural sharpness, their bones clicking softly in the distance. Creepers drift in silence, quietly glowing with the faint pulse of something unnatural. Their calm presence almost feels sad, like a remnant of an experiment that never found completion. If you listen closely, you can hear the world shifting beneath you. Not loudly, not violently. Just the soft reminder that this land is old and that you are only a visitor. You take shelter for the first time. Maybe inside a small dirt hut. Maybe inside a cave. Maybe tucked into the corner of a village you found by accident. Wherever you rest, the feeling is the same. You are not the first one here. Villages especially carry that feeling. Their houses are arranged with purpose. Paths are placed with intention. The farms are neat, organized, and shaped with structure. But the villagers themselves feel strange. They move in simple patterns. They farm without emotion. They stare with wide, blank eyes that seem to hold no memory of their own past. Almost like they are echoes of a people who once understood far more than they do now. The more you explore, the more it feels like the world was built by hands that were more advanced, more aware, and far more ancient than these tired villagers. Your first nights in the overworld feel like walking into the ruins of a forgotten civilization that left almost no clues behind. You are surrounded by questions shaped into the landscape. Why do villages appear in such specific formations? Why are mine shafts suspended in caves no villager could reach? Why are strongholds buried in perfect rings far below the earth? You begin to sense the outline of a hidden history, a story that the world is not telling, but one that is still present in every corner. Like whispers in the grass, like vibrations in the stone, like a memory trapped inside the air itself. As dawn slowly touches the horizon again, the overworld brightens. The monsters fade away quietly, as if they were never truly part of the day. The world returns to its calm, peaceful appearance. But now you know better. There is something older beneath this silence, something waiting to be understood. And so, as the sun rises, your journey into the world's forgotten past continues. With daylight returning, the overworld feels gentle and warm again. The grass moves softly in the wind. The animals wander with no fear. Yet your mind keeps drifting back to the strange silence you sensed during the night. And now you find yourself standing at the edge of a village, a simple place. Quiet houses made of wood and stone, crops growing in tidy rows, lanterns swaying in the breeze. It all looks peaceful on the surface, but the longer you observe, the more unsettling the village becomes. Villagers move with a rhythm that feels rehearsed, as if they are following instructions from a forgotten script. They wake, work, and return to their beds without question. They trade with you, but their expressions never change. They speak, but their voices carry no emotion, only soft sounds that hint at words lost long ago. The layout of the village feels intentional in a way the villagers do not seem to understand. Circular paths, oddly precise farmland, and houses shaped with craftsmanship that does not match their simple behavior. It is as if they inherited a place far more advanced than themselves, a place that someone else built. When you explore deeper, the clues become clearer. Some villages have abandoned houses built into cliffs. Others have wells that lead nowhere, as if they once connected to something important. Blacksmiths have furnaces and tools that villagers never use. Libraries hold books no villager seems able to read. it becomes easy to imagine a time when this world was alive in a different way. A time when a smarter people walked these paths. A time when the buildings were not just shelters, but part of a society that understood the world's deeper layers. The villagers feel like descendants of that forgotten people, limited versions of who they once were. Almost as if something happened, something that changed them, something that reduced their knowledge but left their homes behind. There is a quiet sadness in the way villages stand in the sunlight. The homes are empty of memory. The farms continue to produce food no one remembers planting. The bell stands in the center of the square, tall and proud, but no one knows why it was placed there. When you ring it, villagers rush indoors with an urgency they cannot explain. They do not remember the danger it once warned them of, but their instincts do. This is the first real hint that the overworld carries a history deeper than the surface can show. A forgotten warning, a fated instinct, a world shaped by people who left no voices behind. Your journey continues, and you begin to notice something else. Scattered across the overworld are ruins that do not belong to villagers at all. Stone towers, overgrown jungle temples, desert pyramids filled with traps, structures far too complex for the simple villagers who exist now. Each ruin is a quiet message from a time long gone, a message you can feel more than understand. The overworld is not simply empty, it is abandoned. And the villagers are not its builders, they are its inheritors. As you walk away from the village, the wind carries a soft whisper along the grass, a thought shaped from silence. There was once more to this world, much more. And now, you are beginning to notice it. The farther you travel from the quiet villages, the more the overworld begins to reveal fragments of a forgotten age. At first, the changes are subtle. A few mossy stones in a forest, a broken wall peeking out from a hillside, a lone torch standing in a cave you never entered. But soon the ruins become unmistakable. You find an enormous stone tower standing crooked in the middle of a plains biome. No path leads to it. No villagers live nearby. Inside, the air feels cold and still, as if it has not been disturbed for centuries. Cobwebs hang from the corners. Chests lie half buried in dust. The tower feels less like a structure and more like a memory held in place by stone. Farther south, in the warm air of the jungle, you discover a temple. The stone is weathered, covered in vines, and carved with patterns that no villager understands. Inside, you find pressure plates connected to traps that fire arrows across the room. Who set these traps? Who were they meant to stop? And why did they abandon the temple without disabling them? Then there are the desert pyramids. Massive structures built from sandstone, rising from the dunes like monuments to a lost era. Their entrances are buried, their halls silent, their chambers filled with intricate mechanisms that detonate when disturbed. A reminder that whoever built this world knew danger well. The more ruins you explore, the stronger a single idea becomes. Someone built all of this. Someone intelligent. Someone powerful. And they are gone. This realization grows even stronger when you encounter something stranger still. The ruined Nether portals scattered across the overworld. They lie half constructed, half destroyed. Some are cracked, others grown over with vines, and many hum with a faint magical energy. It is as if someone attempted to connect the overworld to another place, succeeded for a time, and then suddenly stopped. Or perhaps they fled. Below the surface, in deep caverns where sunlight never reaches, you find mine shafts. Long wooden tunnels stretch into darkness, supported by beams that must have been placed with intention. Rail tracks run across empty pits. Lanterns hang from posts, still glowing faintly. But the miners are gone. Every pickaxe left behind is broken. Every chest holds only scraps of supplies. Some tunnels are half collapsed, as if the workers left in a hurry. Deeper still, abandoned strongholds hide behind stone walls, circular hallways, libraries filled with books that crumble at your touch, hidden doorways, rooms that lead to more questions. And then, at the heart of these strongholds, something extraordinary. A frame built from glowing green blocks, silent, unfinished, waiting for something. The end portal. A doorway to the final dimension, created by hands that no longer exist. A portal that villagers cannot understand. A portal that no creature naturally approaches. A structure so advanced it feels like the last whisper of the ancient world that came before you. Each ruin, each tunnel, each fragment of architecture shares one quiet truth. This world was once filled with people who shaped every corner of it. People who mastered stone and magic. People who built portals, cities, monuments, and machines. But something happened. Something erased them. Something left behind only shadows of their accomplishments, scattered across the land. The overworld holds its breath around these ruins. Even the animals seem quieter here, as if they sense the weight of forgotten history resting on the carvings and broken walls. You walk from one ruin to another, letting the silence settle in your mind. And with each step, the outline of the ancient builders becomes clearer. But to understand them fully, you will need to follow their footsteps into stranger places, far from the calm grass and gentle hills of the overworld. The answers you seek lie deeper, darker, and far more ancient than anything found on the surface. By now, the overworld's silence feels different, not empty, but expectant, like a world that remembers more than it reveals. Every ruin, every abandoned corridor, every crumbling staircase points toward the same truth. There was once a people who understood this world in ways no one alive does now. We call them the ancient builders. No records remain. No spoken history survived. No villagers tell stories of them. But their presence lingers in every forgotten structure scattered through the land. To understand who the ancient builders were, you only need to study what they left behind. They were architects. Not simple ones, but master builders capable of shaping landscapes, carving entire cities underground, and constructing temples with traps that still function long after their creators vanished. They built strongholds with libraries that stretch farther than the reach of any modern villager mind. They carved spiraling staircases deep into the earth, as if searching for something hidden beneath layers of stone. They were explorers, bold enough to cross oceans, leaving behind ocean ruins that sink slowly into the depths. Their monuments rise from the desert sand, precise and symmetrical, untouched by time except for the occasional block broken by the shifting dunes. They were innovators. Their engineering was far beyond what villagers or illagers currently know. They mined deep tunnels with wooden supports strong enough to survive for ages. They created redstone mechanisms so advanced that even players often struggle to understand how they work. Most importantly, they were travelers between worlds. The ruined Nether portals scattered across the land are proof. Their framed arches, built from obsidian, are too intentional to be mistakes, too widespread to be accidents. These portals show us that the ancient builders not only discovered the Nether, but also passed through it regularly. Their knowledge of dimension travel must have been extraordinary. They understood magic in a way that modern Minecraft life does not reflect. The end portals hidden in strongholds are their greatest achievement, an attempt to reach the farthest realm of existence. A realm so distant and mysterious that even the portal frame itself glows with unsettling green fire. But even without records, we can understand something deeper about the ancient builders. They were human. They slept. They worked. They farmed. They planned. Their homes and cities show signs of routine life. Storage rooms full of supplies. Forges designed for constant use. Libraries filled with forgotten knowledge. And then, suddenly, everything disappeared. Entire cities abandoned. Portals left half-finished. Strongholds quiet and lifeless. Mine shafts filled with the remains of hurried retreats. The question that hangs over every ruined block is simple and haunting. What happened to them? Did they flee from something? Did they fight a war they could not win? Did they lose themselves to the very dimensions they tried to master? For now, their fate remains a quiet mystery. But one thing is clear. The ancient builders shaped the overworld. They shaped the Nether. They shaped the end. Their fingerprints are everywhere, even if their voices are gone. As you step deeper into their story, the ruins feel less like broken structures and more like memories. Memories captured in stone, waiting for someone to walk through them again. And with each step you take, you walk further into the heart of their forgotten world. To understand the ancient builders fully, you must imagine a time long before the overworld felt empty. A time when the world was not quiet, but alive with purpose. A time when the builders walked its fields, shaped its mountains, and filled its cities with light. Their rise began simply, the same way every civilization begins. A shelter, a farm, a place to gather resources. But unlike the villagers who now wander without memory, the builders were driven by curiosity and ambition. They studied the world around them with careful eyes. They learned how stone behaved when shaped. They learned how water flowed and how lava moved with slow power beneath the earth. They discovered redstone, a glowing dust hidden in deep caves, and realized it could carry energy like veins of magic. From this discovery, they built mechanisms that opened doors, moved objects, and activated hidden traps. With each generation, their knowledge grew. Wooden houses became stone fortresses. Simple farms became complex irrigation systems. Tunnels became networks. Villages became cities. Their architectural style still remains visible in the structures you find today. Perfectly measured halls and strongholds, symmetrical patterns carved into jungle temples, ocean monuments built from rare sea materials crafted with impossible precision. To build such wonders, the builders must have understood mathematics, engineering, and materials in ways no living species now does. They were not simply surviving, they were thriving. As their civilization expanded, they turned their eyes outward. They wanted to understand the overworld fully, from the highest mountain peak to the deepest cave. Their mine shafts cut through impossible depths. Their pathways linked distant biomes. Their towers rose as markers for travelers, guiding them across landscapes that stretched endlessly. But what made their civilization truly extraordinary was not their buildings or their machines. It was their desire to understand the mysteries of existence beyond their world. They discovered obsidian, formed where lava met water, a stone harder than anything they had known, a stone that hummed with potential. Through experimentation and courage, the builders learned how to shape obsidian into frames that pulsed with energy, portals, The first Nether portals must have felt like miracles, windows into a realm of fire, ash, and ancient magic. While the overworld provided comfort, the Nether offered rare materials and knowledge that pushed the builders even further. This discovery marked the height of their power. They built settlements across dimensions. They mined nether quartz and ancient debris. They learned to bend the world's rules to their advantage. Their exploration did not stop there. The strongholds they constructed hint at a final frontier, an ultimate destination, an experiment unlike anything else. The end, a realm beyond understanding, a place of void and floating islands where nothing grows. Yet the builders sought it, prepared for it, and constructed vast underground structures designed solely to activate the end portal. Their rise was more than innovation. It was a story of ambition and discovery, a story of reaching farther than any other species has ever dreamed. But the higher a civilization climbs, the deeper its shadows grow. Because hidden beneath their achievements, the builders also left signs of fear, signs of urgency, signs that something began to unravel. The perfect halls of their strongholds often lead to empty dead ends. Mine shafts stop abruptly, as if abandoned mid-dig. Nether portals lie broken, shattered by some unknown force. The builders rose to heights unmatched, but their fall would be far more mysterious. Their golden age was not the end of their story. It was the beginning of a change that would shape everything that came after. And to understand their disappearance, we must step deeper into the darkness they left behind. Every civilization that rises eventually reaches a moment where something shifts. A moment where the world grows heavier, where the achievements of the past begin to crack at the edges. For the ancient builders, this moment did not come slowly. It arrived like a shadow spreading across every part of their world. At first, the signs were small, abandoned tools left in mine shafts, portals dismantled and scattered across distant biomes, villages once full of life now standing in quiet stillness. Something had unsettled the builders, something that caused them to retreat from the overworld they once shaped with such confidence. The strongest clue to their fall lies deep underground, where the stones grow dark and still. The deep dark. This biome carries a silence unlike any other place in the overworld. Even mobs avoid it. Sound fades inside its halls, as if the world itself holds its breath. Strange blocks called skulk cover the floors, spreading like an infection that remembers every movement. It feels alive in a way that stone should not. At the center of this darkness, the builders left behind their greatest creation and their greatest mistake. The ancient cities, massive structures carved from deep slate, arranged with precise symmetry. The lighting is faint, the corridors wide, the ceilings impossibly high. It is a place built for a population far larger than anything that remains today. But ancient cities also hold grief. Collapsed buildings, empty chests, broken hallways that lead nowhere. A silence that feels like the echo of thousands who left suddenly and never returned. The skulk that covers these cities suggests a catastrophe. Something spread through the builder's home, absorbing the vibrations of their footsteps, their voices, their lives. It is as if the builders created something they could no longer control. And then there is the warden, a creature that does not see, a creature that only listens, a creature born from the very skulk that fills the ancient cities. The warden does not wander the world naturally. It emerges when the skulk senses too much life, too much movement, too much presence. almost as if it was designed to guard something or prevent something. The builders may have created the skulk as a tool, a way to store knowledge or energy, a living network of memory. But somewhere along the way, the creation began to grow beyond their control. The underground halls that were once filled with activity became places of fear. The builders fled the deep dark, and even now, long after their disappearance, the skulk continues to grow silently, waiting for movement that will awaken the warden once more. But the deep dark alone does not explain the end of the builders. There are other clues. The wither. The builders' obsession with discovery extended into the realm of magic. They studied soul sand, fossils, and strange materials found deep in the Nether. Somewhere along their journey, they learned how to assemble the pieces that would create a creature of unimaginable destruction, a creature that feeds on life, a creature that destroys everything around it, a creature that cannot be reasoned with. Strongholds show signs of wither damage. Mines collapsed unnaturally. Temples cracked and scorched. It is possible that in their search for power, the builders unleashed a force that turned against them. Some fled underground. Some fled across the ocean. Some may have escaped into the Nether, and some may have reached the end, desperate for a final refuge. Each ruin tells a different part of the same story. The builders were fighting for survival. Their fall was not a single event. It was a cascade of disasters, each pushing them farther from the world they once controlled. And then, one day, they were gone. Not a single builder remains. No bodies, no graves, only monuments to what they once were. The overworld became silent again. Villagers continued their simple routines. Animals wandered freely. The ancient cities fell into total darkness. And all that remains now are the structures that hint at their greatness and their downfall. Their rise shaped the world, but their fall gave Minecraft its mystery. To understand the full story, we must follow the path they took as they escaped into another realm. When a civilization vanishes, it rarely disappears without a trace. The ancient builders were no exception. Although their voices are gone and their people are nowhere to be found, the world they shaped remains filled with the quiet echoes of their existence. Every structure you encounter, every ruin that rises from the sand or hides beneath the sea, is part of the builder's final message, not spoken in words, but preserved in stone. As you continue wandering through the overworld, the clues begin to connect. The first and most obvious are the strongholds. These underground labyrinths stretch across miles of stone, built with materials no modern villager uses. Their hallways form perfect rings and geometric patterns, as if modeled after celestial designs. Libraries inside these strongholds overflow with books that crumble to dust, suggesting that the builders sought knowledge without limits. These strongholds were not homes. They were gateways, safe places where the builders prepared for a journey into the unknown. Their craftsmanship hints at careful planning and a level of organization that no other species in Minecraft possesses today. Far above ground, scattered across the oceans, lie the ruins of their coastal cities. Stone pillars rise from the water like broken memories. Houses stand half submerged, their interiors filled with kelp and drifting sand. These ocean ruins seem ancient, older even than the strongholds. They may have been early settlements, eventually overtaken by rising waters or abandoned when the ocean no longer offered safety. The builder's understanding of the sea can also be seen in the existence of ocean monuments, massive structures made from a rare material called prismarine. Their size alone suggests a society capable of commanding enormous resources and labor. Inside, guardians and elder guardians patrol the halls, almost as if they were placed there intentionally to defend something important. Perhaps the builders left these creatures as protectors, or perhaps they lost control of them, just as they seemed to lose control of their other creations. In the warm deserts, the pyramids tell a different story. Their mathematical precision shows advanced understanding of geometry, yet their inner chambers contain traps that hint at fear or distrust. It is as though the builders tried to protect something valuable or to seal away something dangerous. The pressure plates, the hidden explosives, the carefully placed treasures all point to a civilization that knew danger intimately. Jungle temples show similar clues. Complex redstone mechanisms still function inside these mossy structures. The arrows fire, the tripwires activate. Even after ages, the machines continue to perform exactly as designed. This suggests that the builders not only invented redstone technology, but perfected it long before anyone else touched it. Above ground, you also find abandoned villages in biomes where villagers no longer live. Some look ancient, with cracked paths and collapsed roofs. Others are strangely modern in layout, but entirely empty. These ghost villages may have been outposts or transitional settlements for the builders as they spread across the overworld. Then there are the fossils. Deep beneath deserts and swamps lie enormous skeletal remains. The bones form shapes of creatures far larger than any mob alive today. Were these beasts hunted by the builders? Did they roam freely before the world changed? Or are the fossils older still, remnants from a time even the builders did not understand? No one knows, but their presence suggests that the world itself holds layers of history even older than the builders. And finally, there are the portals. Ruined Nether portals are the most haunting artifact of all. Some are crushed under the weight of netherrack. Others are suspended in the ocean depths where no portal should ever exist. Many glow faintly, as if waiting for the builders to return. The crying obsidian in these ruins feels emotional, like a material that remembers sorrow. These portals may have been escape routes, or failed attempts to return home, or evidence that the builders traveled between worlds so often that these frames became as common as roads or bridges. The builders left a world behind that feels frozen in time, a world that continues to function without their guidance, as if running on the memory of their leadership. But the final clues point to the most mysterious part of their story, the direction they fled. The strongholds were designed for one purpose only. Not for living, not for farming, not for storage. They were made to hold the end portal. To understand the next chapter of the ancient builder's journey, you must leave the calm fields and soft winds of the overworld behind. Their story continues in a place that feels nothing like home. A place shaped by heat, ash, and ancient forces that still echo through its glowing landscapes. The builders did not stumble into this realm by accident. They created the pathway themselves. Obsidian portals, formed from lava cooled by water, allowed them to step through the thin boundary that separates the worlds. Imagine standing before one of these portals. The frame is tall and dark, carved with a precision that feels purposeful. Inside the frame, purple energy swirls and shifts, glowing softly like a curtain made of light. There is a low hum, a vibration that moves through the air and settles gently in your chest. The moment you step through, the world changes. The first sensation is heat. Not sharp or painful, but constant, as if the air itself has weight. The sky is not truly a sky, but a ceiling of deep red and swirling particles. The ground beneath you is rough and cracked, glowing with pockets of lava that push their light upward like the heartbeat of the realm. This is the Nether, a dimension that feels alive in a harsh and ancient way. A place where time moves differently, where danger and beauty exist side by side. The builders entered this world not with fear, but with determination, drawn by the rare materials and hidden knowledge it contained. As you take your first step, you hear the distant rumble of ghasts, large floating creatures that cry out with haunting voices. Their calls echo through the vast open spaces, echoing softly like old memories lost in the wind. Close by, rivers of lava flow in slow, steady streams, lighting the landscape with warm orange light. Basalt formations tower like ancient pillars. Glowing fungi illuminate the ground with soft, otherworldly colors. Every direction reveals something new and unfamiliar. Despite its harshness, the Nether holds a strange beauty. The builders must have seen this beauty as well. They explored its twisting caverns, its towering fortresses, and its quiet pockets of shimmering quartz. They mined nether gold and ancient debris, materials stronger and rarer than anything found in the overworld. It is here that you begin to understand the builders' ambition. They were not afraid to enter a realm filled with danger. They sought knowledge everywhere, even in places where the land itself seemed hostile. But the Nether also holds clues to their struggles. Scattered across the landscape are ruined portals, not built by you, but by the builders themselves. Some portals are intact. Many are shattered. Others are buried under netherrack as if sealed away intentionally. These broken frames suggest that movement between the overworld and the Nether became unstable, or dangerous, or perhaps something followed them through. Then there are the Nether fortresses, massive structures rising from oceans of lava, long corridors made of dark bricks, bridges that stretch across empty space, rooms filled with blaze spawners, creating swirling fire that dances in the air like living embers. The builders constructed these fortresses with purpose. They may have served as strongholds, research centers, or defensive posts. But over time, something went wrong. Many fortresses contain signs of battle: broken walls, collapsed tunnels, empty storage rooms that suggest forced evacuation. Perhaps the builders hoped the Nether would offer refuge from the dangers spreading across the overworld. Perhaps they sought resources needed to save their world. Or perhaps the Nether itself held secrets they believed could reverse their decline. But whatever their reason, the Nether became a turning point. It is a place of creation and destruction. A place where the builders' brilliance collided with forces they could not control. And somewhere in this fiery world, among the piglins and the fortresses and the lava seas, the next part of their story began to unravel. As you move deeper into the Nether, the landscape begins to shift in subtle ways. The air remains warm and heavy, but the ground changes from cracked netherrack to polished blackstone. Lanterns made from glowing fungi cast soft blue and purple hues across the walls. The architecture becomes intentional again, shaped rather than natural. This is the territory of the piglins. Unlike villagers, piglins show signs of culture and structure. They live in organized groups, build complex settlements, and guard their treasures fiercely. They wear armor made from gold, carry weapons with confidence, and react instantly to the presence of outsiders. piglins were not always the chaotic scavengers they seem to be now. Their ruins tell a different story. In the heart of the Nether, vast fortresses known as bastions stand quietly beneath the crimson sky. These bastions are immense, carved from black stone and gilded with traces of gold. Their halls are lined with treasure rooms, armories, and walkways suspended over cavernous drops. Every bastion feels like a palace that has fallen into disrepair. Broken bridges, collapsed staircases, chests left half open, rooms filled with old banners and shattered remnants of what might have once been a throne. The piglin civilization must have been powerful long ago, strong enough to mine gold on a massive scale, organized enough to build monumental architecture, disciplined enough to defend their lands against the dangerous creatures that roam the Nether. But something changed. Modern piglins seem afraid, easily startled, aggressive without reason, hoarding gold as if it is their only comfort. They patrol their bastions relentlessly, yet their eyes carry a kind of confusion, as if the knowledge of what these places once meant has slipped away. One theory suggests the piglins once worked alongside the ancient builders. The builders needed rare nether materials, and the piglins valued trade and protection. Evidence of this can be seen in chests that contain overworld items mixed with nether treasures. It suggests an exchange of resources, perhaps even a shared purpose. Another theory proposes that the builders disrupted something sacred to the piglins. Perhaps a balance was broken. Perhaps a creature or force awakened in the Nether frightened both worlds. The Wither, after all, can be summoned using soul sand found only here. Many ruins show scorched marks and walls blown apart. Signs of battle. Signs of a desperate struggle. The piglins seem to have survived, but not without consequences. Their society fractured. Their control faded. Their golden age ended. Now they inhabit their bastions without memory of their former glory. They wander through broken rooms, guarding chests filled with gold they no longer use. They react to strangers as if every visitor is a threat, perhaps remembering the collapse of their past without understanding it. The builders, too, left traces in these lands. It is possible they attempted to stabilize the Nether or extract resources needed to protect the overworld. But the growing dangers around them, both in this realm and the one they left behind, must have made this impossible. Even so, the builders returned to the Nether long after their civilization began to unravel. Some strongholds contain Nether bricks, carried back from expeditions. Some overworld ruins contain remnants of Nether materials. Their struggle was not limited to one realm, but the answers to why the builders left the Nether behind still lie ahead. There are clues in the ruins, in the behavior of piglins, and in the remnants of their architecture. And to understand their retreat from this dimension, we must look at the forces they encountered here. Forces that may have driven them back into the overworld or sent them searching for a final refuge in the end. As you travel deeper into the Nether, you begin to notice scars carved across the landscape, walls shattered into fragments, bridges broken in half, dangling above oceans of lava, tunnels darkened by soot, as if great fires once swept through them. These marks are not natural. They are signs of conflict. The Nether was not always a quiet, echoing realm. Long ago, it held the tension of a powerful struggle, a conflict large enough to shape the fate of an entire dimension, a conflict known now only through the ruins it left behind. This is what many believe to be the Great Piglin War. The piglins were once organized, structured, and united under a single culture. Their bastions were not simple fortresses, but grand centers of power. Their treasure rooms were stocked with gold not for vanity, but for a deeper purpose tied to their beliefs. Some theories suggest piglins viewed gold as protection against dark forces that roamed the Nether. Others say gold held spiritual meaning for them, guiding their rituals and traditions. Whatever the truth, the piglins were not careless. They were proud, and they fought fiercely for the world they called home. But then something changed. Traces of strange destruction appear across the Nether, destruction that does not match the patterns left by ghasts or blazes or magma cubes. Instead, these marks resemble something much more controlled and unnatural. Explosions arranged in patterns, walls removed in straight, clean lines, rooms emptied in ways that suggest a systematic breach. Some believe the ancient builders caused this, not out of malice, but desperation. As dangers spread across the overworld, the builders began to seek solutions in the Nether. Ancient debris, the material used to forge netherite, was rare but incredibly strong. Perhaps the builders needed more than the overworld could provide. Perhaps they expanded too quickly into piglin territory, mining resources that piglins held sacred. If the builders encroached too far, the piglins would have fought back. Their numbers were great. Their knowledge of the Nether was unmatched. Battles would have erupted across bastions and fortresses. Entire complexes could have been overrun. Another theory suggests that the piglins were not fighting the builders at all. They were fighting something the builders unleashed, the Wither. Deep within the Nether, Soul Sand rests like a graveyard of forgotten spirits. The builders discovered it and experimented with its dark energy. When combined with rare materials, Soul Sand could create something terrifying, something powerful. A creature that feeds on life and spreads destruction everywhere it goes. If the builders summoned the Wither in the Nether, even by accident, it would have torn through piglin territories with relentless force. Walls would crumble, bridges would shatter, bastions would fall. The piglins, unprepared for a creature of this strength, may have believed they were under attack from beyond the realms. They would have fought with everything they had. Their society would fracture under the immense pressure. Whether the conflict was against the builders, against the Wither, or against both, the result was the same. The piglin civilization collapsed. Those who survived became the piglins seen today. Aggressive, paranoid, distrustful of strangers, guarding gold as if it holds the last fragment of their old identity. Their behavior carries echoes of fear passed down through generations. A fear of intruders, a fear of dark magic, a fear of losing everything again. Meanwhile, the builders also paid a price. Their presence in the Nether dwindled. Their portals broke. Their structures cracked and emptied. The Nether, instead of becoming a refuge or resource, became another part of their downfall. The builders retreated. Some returned to the overworld. Some fled underground. And some set their sights on the final dimension, seeking answers or escape in a place even stranger than the Nether. The Great Piglin War marks a turning point in the builders' story. Their harmony with the worlds around them had shattered. Their knowledge could not save them. Their creations turned against them, and so they stepped back through their portals for the last time, leaving a dimension scarred by battle and filled with ruins that whisper a story lost to time. The Nether grows quieter as you walk deeper into its vast red expanse. The sound of crackling lava fades. the echoes of distant creatures become softer. It feels as though the dimension itself is holding its breath, waiting for you to notice something hidden beneath the ruin. Then, rising out of the haze, you see it. A nether fortress. Tall, silent, shaped from dark bricks that glow faintly with the heat of the world. Its silhouette stretches across the sky like the skeleton of a long-forgotten kingdom. The builders did not construct these fortresses in haste. Their layout is too deliberate. The walkways extend in perfectly straight lines. The towers form repeating patterns, almost like ancient symbols written into the architecture itself. Everything hints at a time when these halls were not empty, but alive with activity. Now they stand like tombs. Inside, long corridors open into vast rooms lit only by streams of lava dripping through the ceiling. The air is heavy, warm, and strangely still. Wooden chests sit pushed into corners, filled with fragments of supplies left behind. Blaze spawners swirl with fire, their flames reflecting off the stone in soft, flickering patterns. The builders likely came here seeking resources: quartz, blaze rods, nether wart, rare metals, materials that did not exist in the overworld, materials they needed for their experiments and tools. But the fortresses do not feel like mining outposts. They feel like defensive structures. Walls are thick. Walkways zigzag across dangerous drops. Rooms contain barricades and broken shields. Something dangerous moved through these halls. Something the builders tried to resist. The presence of wither skeletons is one of the clearest clues. They move slowly, their tall frames wrapped in quiet darkness. Their bones emit a faint, eerie glow. It is possible that they were once ordinary skeletons, transformed by prolonged exposure to soul sand magic, or whatever force permeates the nether. If the builders summoned the wither here, or if they attempted to harvest soul energy too aggressively, the magic may have twisted the remains of fallen fighters into these tall, skeletal guardians, a side effect of a war that no one survived. The fortresses bear marks of battle, crumbled staircases, bridge pieces missing, leaving sudden drops into lava, holes blown into walls with precision, not erosion. Signs of panic more than decay. At the far ends of some fortresses, deep beneath layers of blackstone and ash, hidden rooms contain damaged brewing stands and storage chests filled with potions, healing, fire resistance, strength, as if the builders were preparing for a final fight. The deeper you go, the more it becomes clear that the builders did not abandon the nether willingly. Their retreat was forced. Some theories say the wither pushed them out. Others believe the skulk from the deep dark spread into the nether. Another possibility is that the piglin conflict became too intense and too widespread to control. Whatever the cause, the builders faced a turning point. The fortresses they built with such power and confidence became battlegrounds. Their portals shattered. Their networks collapsed. When you stand at the edge of a fortress bridge and look out across the glowing landscape, you can almost imagine the moment the builders realized they could not hold this dimension any longer. They must have gathered their remaining tools and supplies, sealed their archives, and stepped through the last functioning portals with a mix of fear and hope. For some, the overworld was still safe enough to return to. For others, the overworld had already begun to fall apart, but for a select group among them, there was one final path left unexplored, one last realm waiting in the dark, a dimension they had prepared for but never intended to flee into. The end. A silent void, a world without life, a final refuge or a final trap. To reach it, the builders needed strongholds, eyes of Ender, and courage greater than anything they had ever known. And so their journey continued, not upward or downward, but outward, through a doorway suspended between worlds. After witnessing the ruins scattered across the overworld and the scars left behind in the Nether, your understanding of the ancient builders begins to shift. Their disappearance no longer feels sudden. It feels like a long retreat, a steady journey away from danger, away from collapse, and into the unknown. All signs begin pointing toward one final destination, a place where the builders would gather their knowledge, prepare their last attempts at survival, and construct passageways toward the final realm they dared to reach. The Stronghold. It is one of the rarest structures in Minecraft, hidden far beneath the earth as if the world itself is trying to protect or conceal it. You do not stumble upon a stronghold. You are led to it. The journey begins with the careful crafting of eyes made from ender pearls and blaze powder, materials that tie the overworld and Nether together. These eyes drift through the air when thrown, gliding softly, rising and falling like living compasses. Each movement hints at the presence of something ancient lying beneath your feet. As you follow the floating eyes across plains, deserts, oceans, and forests, the world feels quieter, even peaceful. But the deeper meaning is always there. You are tracing the builder's path. You are walking where they walked long ago. You are following their final hope. When the last eye drifts downward and sinks into the ground, you know you are close. You begin to dig. The deeper you go, the colder the air becomes. The noise of the surface fades away. The stone around you feels old, untouched for ages. Your footsteps echo softly as you descend through layers of earth that no villager has seen since the time of the builders. Then, suddenly, stone bricks appear. Not natural stone, but carved blocks. Smooth, precise, arranged in perfect patterns that no random cave could ever form. You step into a hallway, the stronghold. The walls feel ancient but solid. The corridors stretch out in every direction, creating a strange maze that feels both deliberate and chaotic, as if the builders constructed it quickly but with purpose. Torches line the walls, long extinguished. Doors creak softly on their hinges. The air carries a faint smell of dust and forgotten time. As you wander through the hallways, you begin to feel the weight of the builder's presence. Libraries filled with crumbling books tower overhead, their shelves reaching into the shadows. Maps and manuscripts once filled these rooms. Knowledge gathered from all dimensions, now reduced to silence. Some rooms contain empty chests, their contents long removed or decayed. Other rooms hold traps, suggesting that the builders knew their strongholds might one day be invaded by creatures or forces they could not understand. The deeper you explore, the more the stronghold feels less like a fortress and more like a sanctuary. A final shelter. A place where the builders gathered everything they could before stepping into the unknown. At the heart of the stronghold lies the portal room. The room is small, suspended above a pool of silver-blue lava that emits a quiet, shimmering light. The end portal frame sits in the center, constructed from mysterious green blocks that glow faintly even without activation. Some frames are cracked, others are missing their eyes. This portal was the last doorway the builders ever opened, a doorway that led them away from the overworld, away from the Nether, and into a dimension unlike any they had known before. Standing here, you can almost feel their final footsteps across these stones, the fear they carried, the hope they clung to, the uncertainty of stepping into a void that offered no promise of return. But they had no choice. the dangers that followed them left them with only one path. The path into the end. The end portal room feels different from the rest of the stronghold. Even in the dim light, the air carries a quiet tension, as if the room itself remembers the moment it was last used. Everything here feels deliberate. The placement of the portal frame, the flowing pool of silver blue lava below, the eerie green glow coming from the carved blocks that form the frame. The builders stood here once, after fleeing the overworld, after fighting in the Nether, after watching their world unravel around them. This room was their final threshold, the last doorway in a long line of desperate steps. To activate the portal, the builders placed eyes made from rare materials into each empty frame. Each eye shimmered with a pulsing light that linked the overworld to something much farther away. As the last eye settled into place, the empty frame transformed. The surface of the portal became dark and still, like a pool of midnight water, a perfect gateway to a dimension beyond all others. You stand before that same portal now, silent, mysterious, waiting. There is no sound as you step forward, no dramatic rush of energy, just a soft pull as though gravity has shifted into a new direction, and then the world around you fades. For a moment, there is nothing. No sound, no warmth, no sense of direction. Only a gentle drifting sensation, like floating through a quiet dream. Then the shapes begin to form. A landscape unlike anything in the overworld or the Nether slowly reveals itself. Endstone stretches beneath your feet, pale and smooth, like the surface of an ancient moon. Dark sky surrounds you on all sides, filled with swirling particles that drift aimlessly, as if time has lost meaning. This is the end. The builders must have felt a wave of both awe and sorrow when they first arrived here. The end carries a heavy silence, deeper even than the calm of the overworld or the stillness of the Nether. It feels untouched, yet ancient, vast, yet empty. A place where the world seems to have stopped long ago. Floating islands hang in the darkness, suspended above an endless void. Bridges of pale stone connect some of them, while others float alone, drifting quietly through the air. There is no wind, no water, no life as the builders once knew it. But this dimension does have inhabitants, Endermen. Tall, dark figures with glowing purple eyes wander the landscape. They move slowly, picking up blocks, placing them back down in strange patterns, as if searching for something they lost. They avoid direct eye contact, turning their heads away as if they remember dangers long forgotten by the world. Some believe these creatures may be connected to the builders themselves, perhaps transformed by exposure to this dimension, perhaps descendants altered by its strange energy, or perhaps they are the remains of a failed experiment, left wandering in quiet sorrow. Whatever their origin, the Endermen give the dimension a lonely, dreamlike feeling. Their movements are calm. Their sound is soft and distant, like muted whispers carried through space. The builders stood here once, looking across the empty islands, hoping to build a new home away from the dangers that consumed their old one. But the end offered little comfort. There were no materials to mine, no natural food to grow, no rivers to drink from, no forests to rebuild with. Instead, there was the dragon, a massive creature flying gracefully through the air, its wings leaving faint ripples of sound behind them. The Ender Dragon circles the central island with a mixture of elegance and power, as if guarding the dimension itself. It is both a protector and a prisoner, bound to this realm by forces the builders tried to understand. To the builders, the dragon may have represented one final obstacle or one final lesson. Perhaps they believed defeating it would unlock the secrets of survival beyond their failing worlds. Perhaps they saw it as a guardian placed between them and a future they hoped to reach. Whatever they believed, the dragon remained the final challenge, one that many builders may have attempted to face, one that none ever defeated. This moment marks the deepest part of the builder's journey, their final attempt to find meaning, refuge, or escape. Their last hope for rebuilding what they had lost. The end is quiet now, but its silence speaks. It holds memories of those who crossed through portals seeking safety, only to find more questions waiting in the darkness. As you move farther from the central island of the end, the landscape begins to change in soft, subtle ways. The stillness remains, but the terrain stretches outward into a series of floating islands that drift in the void like ancient stones suspended in timeless air. Each island is shaped from pale endstone, smooth and quiet, with gentle curves and ridges that feel almost sculpted by silence itself. The builders who arrived here would have explored these islands with a mixture of hope and uncertainty. They were searching for a new beginning, yet every step revealed how different this world was from the one they left behind. Endermen wander across these islands in slow, deliberate patterns. Their movements are predictable, almost ritualistic, as if following routines passed down through ages. Sometimes they gather in small groups and stand completely still, facing outward toward the void. It is not clear what they are watching. Perhaps they are waiting for something, or remembering something, or longing for a place they can no longer reach. The quiet of the end is deeper than any silence found in the overworld or the Nether. It is not empty, but restful, almost meditative. There are no winds, no shifting leaves, no crackling flames. Only the soft sound of your footsteps across the stone. As the builders journeyed through this realm, they would have found signs that the end was far larger than they expected. The islands continue endlessly in every direction, separated by great stretches of void. To cross them, the builders would have needed bridges, ender pearls, or technologies now long forgotten. Some bridges remain, made from endstone or otherworldly materials, stretching between islands like pale threads sewn through the darkness. These hints suggest that the builders did not retreat into the end in a single moment. They explored. They built. They searched for meaning in a dimension that offered no obvious answers. Farther out, the islands begin to shift once again. Endstone becomes mixed with strange purple plants that sway softly, even though no breeze exists. These plants grow tall and spiraling, creating forests of twisting shapes that reach upward like soft, glowing sculptures. This biome is the home of the chorus trees. The chorus trees are unlike any plants found elsewhere. They grow in unpredictable patterns, splitting and branching without symmetry. Their fruit, the chorus fruit, bends space when eaten, teleporting anyone who consumes it to another location on the island. To the builders, this must have been both wondrous and unsettling. A plant that could move a person through space with a single bite. A food source that obeyed no natural rules. Some theories suggest the builders cultivated these trees intentionally, seeking to understand their strange properties. Perhaps they hoped the chorus fruit could help them travel the vast, empty spaces between the islands. Perhaps they studied its teleporting nature in hopes of unlocking deeper mysteries about the end itself. But the chorus forests hold another secret. Hidden between the tall, spiraling branches, you may find pieces of smooth end stone shaped into perfect geometric forms. These shapes hint at abandoned research stations or early colonies, small settlements built by the builders as they attempted to adapt to this new realm. Most are empty now, their chests hollow, their walls cracked, their bridges broken. The builders left behind no clear explanation, no writings, no voices. Only the quiet and the structures shaped by their hands. Deeper still, far beyond the reach of the central island, lies a clue that changes everything. A structure made not of end stone, but of purple blocks, soft purple in color, smooth and delicate in texture. A structure crafted with skill, the End City. It rises into the air like a tower of geometric dreams. Bridges connect rooms suspended above the void. Windows overlook distant islands. Walkways twist in beautiful but impossible patterns. These cities are vast, detailed, and too complex to be natural. Someone built them, and the materials used do not appear in the rest of the dimension naturally. They had to be crafted. This suggests advanced construction, planning, knowledge of the end that exceeds anything found in the strongholds. Many believe the builders created the End Cities. Others suggest the Endermen themselves may have once possessed greater intelligence and built these structures before their transformation into the quiet, wandering beings seen today. Inside these cities, you find floating shulkers attached to the walls, guarding the rooms with strange levitation attacks. Their presence feels deliberate, as if they were placed here to protect something precious, something the builders did not want disturbed, or something they feared. At the highest points of these cities stand magnificent airships called end ships, elegant vessels that float above the islands. Each ship contains rare treasures, including elytra wings capable of gliding through the air. These wings hint that whoever lived here understood flight, movement, exploration. The builders may have hoped these wings would help them continue their search across the endless void, or escape from dangers unknown. The deeper you venture into the end, the more the pieces of the puzzle begin to align. The builders came here seeking refuge, but what they found was a realm filled with mysteries they could not solve. Cities with no inhabitants, ships with no crew, structures with no origin that can be fully explained. The end holds secrets about the builder's fate, but it also hints at something far older, a force that shaped this dimension long before the builders arrived. As you drift farther into the quiet realms of the end, the last fragments of the ancient builder's story settle into place. The strongholds, the nether fortresses, the ruined portals, the shattered bastions, the empty end cities. All of them form a long, winding trail that leads to this final mystery. What happened to the builders? Why did a civilization so advanced, so intelligent, so resourceful simply vanish? There are no clear answers, only gentle clues scattered across the worlds they once shaped. But in this silence, their story still whispers. The builders entered the end out of necessity. They had exhausted the overworld. They had lost control in the Nether. And now they hoped this final destination would offer peace, stability, or even a chance to begin again. But the end was not what they expected. The end is vast, but it is also empty. It offers no water, no soil, no natural life. Its resources are limited and strange. Its islands drift through a void that has no day or night. Its silence carries a weight that can shape the mind. The builders would have struggled here. They built end cities, floating towers, and graceful bridges. They created ships that hovered above the islands, attempting to push deeper into the void. But every structure feels abandoned, not completed. every hallway feels unfinished, as if the builders ran out of time long before their plans were fully realized. Inside the cities, you find shulkers guarding rooms with quiet persistence. These creatures are unnatural, formed from shells and void energy. Many believe the builders created them to defend their last settlements. Others think the shulkers were already here, and the builders simply adapted to their presence. Either way, the cities feel like echoes of a civilization that tried to survive in a place that resisted every attempt to make it home. Then there is the dragon. The Ender Dragon moves with calm authority, circling the skies above the central island. It is powerful, ancient, and perfectly in harmony with the realm. It is not a creature born from the builder's hands. It is native to this dimension, bound to it by forces the builders could not break. Some theories suggest the builders fought the dragon and failed. Others say they never intended to fight it at all, but simply studied it and observed its movements. And some believe the dragon served as a guardian, preventing the builders from exploring a deeper secret hidden within the end. Whatever the dragon represented, the builders never conquered it. There is no sign of their victory, only signs of their retreat. Some scholars of Minecraft lore believe the builders simply faded away, slowly, quietly, generation by generation, unable to sustain themselves in a world without resources. Others think they left the end entirely, that the end cities were only temporary stops, that the builders attempted to cross the void and reached lands so distant they are now beyond the edge of any known world. If true, those lands might hold new civilizations built by their descendants. And then there is the most haunting theory of all, the Endermen. Tall, silent, strangely familiar. They pick up blocks. They build in patterns. They wander the world as if searching for something they lost long ago. They react strangely to the presence of players, as if sensing a memory buried deep in their minds. Their behavior seems almost human. Some believe the builders were transformed by the end, exposed to its energy, changed slowly over generations, losing their voices, adapting to the dimension, becoming tall, thin, silent beings who roam the islands endlessly. If this is true, then the builders never vanished. They simply evolved, and their descendants still stand across the end, watching quietly with glowing eyes, unaware of the civilization they once belonged to. This theory brings a calm sadness. The builders did not die out. They did not fail. They became part of the world they could not escape. They adapted to a realm where survival had no clear path, and in doing so, they left behind only ruins and silence. As you stand on the edge of a floating island and look into the void, the stories align. The builder's journey from the overworld to the Nether to the end was not a straight line. It was a spiral, a slow descent into a place where nothing grows, nothing flourishes, and nothing changes. But even here, their legacy remains. In the strongholds buried deep under the earth, in the portals shattered across deserts, in the cities floating in the dark, in the Endermen who carry blocks from one place to another, as if reenacting fragments of a forgotten past. The builder's story is not a tale of defeat. It is a story of resilience, of creativity, of survival in worlds that offered little comfort. And though their voices have faded, the structures they left behind still speak in their place. A reminder that every world we explore was once shaped by hands that reached farther than we can imagine. This is where the story of the ancient builders falls into quiet mystery. A gentle ending to a journey filled with hope, curiosity, and echoes of a civilization that continues to breathe through the worlds they shaped. When you look across the end and its drifting islands, the story of the ancient builders feels complete. Yet, in many ways, the ending of their journey is only the beginning of a new understanding of the worlds they shaped. To continue this quiet exploration, we gently step back from the end and return to the familiar feeling of the overworld. Not through a loud portal, not through a dramatic shift, only through a gentle transition, as if the dimension itself slowly places you back where your story began. The silence of the end fades, the pale glow of endstone softens, and the warm, natural light of the overworld begins to rise around you. You find yourself standing on soft grass once more. Trees sway gently in the breeze. Rivers flow quietly, catching glimmers of sunlight. Villagers move about their day, tending farms and exchanging trades, unaware of the vast histories buried beneath their feet. For the builders, returning to the overworld was never a peaceful homecoming. It was a reminder of everything they had fought to protect, everything they had left behind, and everything they could no longer control. This part of the story looks not at their disappearance, but at what their world became after they left. A world shaped by their creations, their failures, and their echoes that still ripple across every biome. As the builders faded from history, the overworld changed slowly, carried forward by time and natural cycles. But their influence still remains everywhere. Villages hint at their early architectural styles. Some buildings are simple and wooden, while others resemble modified designs the builders used in their first settlements. The presence of farms, wells, and storage rooms shows a direct connection to the earliest structures the builders left behind. Yet villagers are not the builders themselves. They do not mine. They do not travel far. They do not leave records or build massive monuments. They live simple, peaceful lives, untouched by the enormous struggles that once shaped the world. If villagers are not the descendants of the builders, then who is? Some theories say the villagers are a separate species entirely, born long after the builders vanished. Others say the villagers may have come from early builder settlements that remained isolated from danger. But their gentle nature suggests they have no memory of what came before. The overworld became quiet after the builders. Their great mines collapsed. Their roads disappeared under forests. Their cities sank into oceans or were buried by deserts. Only small hints remain. Ruined portals scattered across the land, strongholds hidden below the earth, fossils buried in swamps, underwater ruins with cracked stone walls and moss-covered columns, monuments in the deep ocean guarded by unnatural creatures. These fragments are like pages torn from a book. The words are missing, but the shapes still remain, waiting for someone to read them. When the builders vanished, the balance of nature quietly shifted. Creatures that once feared humans began to roam freely. Wolves filled forests. Herds of animals wandered across plains. Hostile mobs spread through caves and mountains, no longer challenged by large communities of builders. The overworld became a world of isolated life. Small villages surrounded by wilderness. Great dangers lingering in dark caves. Forests growing unchecked, oceans expanding into silent blue fields dotted with ruins. It is a peaceful world, but also a lonely one. Without the builders, no one remembers the history that shaped the land. No one remembers why strongholds exist. No one knows who built the Nether portals. No one recalls the purpose of the monuments. All of it becomes quiet mystery. And this silence becomes part of the overworld identity. Something else changed after the builders were gone. Magic. Enchantments became rarer. Ancient temples in jungles and deserts often hold strange redstone mechanisms that suggest the builders once understood technology far beyond modern villagers. But these mechanisms are now abandoned, left as puzzles without explanations. In desert temples, the pressure plates and traps show a sophistication that suggests fear, or secrecy, or desperate attempts to protect relics that should never be disturbed. In jungle temples, redstone circuits still function after countless years, indicating advanced knowledge of mechanical systems. These structures indicate that the builders were not simply builders. They were scientists, engineers, researchers, hunters of knowledge. As their civilization weakened, much of this knowledge faded with them. Enchanting tables still remain, but the written language on their books is incomprehensible. Brewing stands still function, but the purpose of many potions remains lost. Every magical item players can craft today is only a fragment of what the builders once created. Magic in Minecraft feels ancient because it is ancient. It is the leftover spark of a civilization that pushed the limits of all three dimensions. And when their civilization fell, the magic scattered like dust. When you explore the world today, you are walking through a museum without labels. Every cave system once held miners and explorers searching for resources. Now they contain only echoes and empty tunnels shaped naturally over time. Every mountain range might once have been carved or studied. Now they rise untouched, holding remnants of forgotten expeditions. Every desert holds the buried remains of structures that once housed people whose names were lost to time. Everything around you carries quiet pieces of the builder's long story. Even the mobs that roam during night or linger underground may be remnants of their actions. Zombies may be corrupted early humans. Skeletons may be their fallen soldiers, animated by energies they never intended to release. Creepers may be failed experiments, or plants mutated through exposure to unnatural magic. There is no proof either way, but the theories allow you to see the overworld as a world infused with history. Not a blank canvas, but a place shaped by countless generations of those who came before. As you continue to wander through the overworld, you may feel a deeper appreciation for the silence, the calm rivers, the soft winds, the distant villages that glow like warm lanterns in the night. This is the world the builders left behind, a world shaped by their hands, but no longer dependent on them. A world that thrives through simple routines rather than large civilizations. It is peaceful. It is quiet. It is filled with mystery. As you continue to explore the overworld with a calm mind and slow, steady steps, a new layer of the builder's history begins to reveal itself. It is not loud. It is not obvious. It hides gently beneath the soil, waiting for a patient traveler to notice the small clues scattered across the landscape. The world the builders left behind is not empty. It is full of quiet footprints, faint markings, and gentle reminders that a great civilization once thrived here. Some are on the surface. Some are buried deep. Some are hidden in the smallest details that most wanderers overlook. This section explores those forgotten settlements and the mysterious machines that still hum softly far below the earth. Across the plains, deserts, and forests, you may find odd little ruins that do not match the style of modern villagers. A broken stone wall, a single pillar rising from the ground, a pile of mossy cobblestone shaped in a pattern too deliberate to be random. These are the surface outposts of the builders, not cities, not massive structures, but small resting points used during long journeys. Travel stations scattered across the land like gentle breadcrumbs. Some contain small chests with simple supplies. Others hide crafting tables or furnaces buried under vines. A few contain pieces of iron or gold, a sign that the builders stopped here while traveling between their greater projects. Many players walk right past these ruins without noticing them. But if you stop, breathe, and look closely, you can feel that these stones were placed purposefully. The builders paused here once. They stood here. They slept here. They shared food and planned their next steps. Now the stones rest quietly, covered by grass and time, acting as gentle reminders of lives that once moved across the landscape. Deep beneath the surface, the caves sing with history. Not the natural caverns carved by the world itself, but the straight tunnels, the smooth walls, the branching patterns that do not follow nature, but the guiding hands of miners. These mines are the fingerprints of the builders. Some are wide and tall, meant for large groups to travel through safely. Others are tight and narrow, showing where individuals followed veins of ore through the rock. The deeper you go, the more the mines begin to twist in. Patterns that suggest innovation. Rooms carved out for storage. Platforms built above lava lakes. Stone pillars placed intentionally to keep tunnels from collapsing. The builders understood the earth in a way modern villagers do not. They dug carefully. They reinforced their tunnels. They left signs of structure and logic. If you walk through these mines slowly, you can almost picture the lanterns that once lit the way, the voices echoing through the rock, the steady rhythm of tools shaping the world beneath the world. Now, only the faint drip of water remains, only the soft glow of ores untouched for ages, only the quiet memory of those who once worked here. Somewhere beneath the land, hidden in deep chambers and forgotten rooms, you may find traces of redstone machines. Not the simple devices modern players build today. These machines are older, carefully designed, and impressively complex. Redstone dust forms lines across the floor. Levers sit next to pistons that have not moved in countless years. Observers rest silently, waiting for a signal that will never come. No villager built these machines. They do not understand redstone. They do not explore deep caves. They do not create mechanisms that move and switch and activate. These machines belong to the builders. Some appear to have powered doors. Some seem like simple elevators. Others are more mysterious, with looping circuits designed for tasks we can no longer decode. The presence of these machines reveals something important. The builders did not rely on magic alone. They understood engineering. They blended redstone, resources, and their natural surroundings to craft mechanisms far ahead of their time. Now, many of these systems sit frozen, covered in dust, their wires still in place, their purpose long forgotten. They rest quietly until an explorer stumbles across them and wonders what these ancient devices once controlled. In certain biomes, the builders appear to have created shelters deep beneath the mountains. These structures are rarely discovered. They hide behind walls of stone and layers of gravel and dirt. Some are completely sealed, as if the builders intended no one to find them again. Inside these bunkers, you may find storage rooms filled with empty barrels. Armor stands holding rusted remnants of protection. Furnaces lined up neatly along walls. Beds left untouched for ages. Some bunkers are small, built for a handful of survivors. Others stretch into long hallways with multiple chambers, suggesting that large groups hid underground during dangerous times. These shelters show fear, not panic, but careful planning. A sign that the builders knew the dangers they faced were not temporary. They prepared for storms, for invasions, for threats from the Nether, or perhaps something darker. These bunkers are time capsules. They hold the quiet sadness of a civilization that hoped to endure, even as the world around them changed. Every ruin, every broken machine, every forgotten mine shares a piece of one truth. The builders wanted their world to survive. Even without them, they left behind structures that could guide future generations, tools that still function, libraries filled with indecipherable text, strongholds that mark the boundaries between realms, redstone machines that show paths of innovation, temples with warnings crafted into their designs. The overworld is their archive, a museum built on grass, stone, and sky, a place where every hill has a story and every cave holds a memory. This is why, even long after the builders vanished, the world still feels alive with mystery, because mystery was their final gift. As your quiet journey continues, the overworld opens itself like a gentle storybook. Each biome reveals a new piece of the builder's legacy, waiting patiently beneath the rhythm of nature. To understand their world fully, you must look beyond plains and forests and travel into the deepest waters, tallest peaks, and most untouched wilderness. These places hold secrets not found anywhere else. Secrets that speak softly of forgotten technologies, mysterious rituals, and ancient tasks the builders once performed. This section carries you slowly across oceans and mountains, letting you drift with the calm of the world as you explore the faint echoes of the builders' lost ingenuity. Beneath the calm waves, the oceans hide more history than the land above. If you swim gently through the water, the surface light ripples quietly around you. Fish drift in calm schools. Kelp waves softly like underwater grass. And somewhere beneath the shifting light, ruins begin to appear. These underwater ruins are older than villages, older than temples, older than most structures found on land. Their cracked stone walls and moss-covered floors whisper of civilizations that once thrived along ancient coastlines. Some ruins contain carvings shaped like early builder designs. Others hold chests filled with relics of a time when oceans were highways connecting settlements across wide distances. Over time, sea levels may have risen. Earthquakes may have pulled coastal cities beneath the waves. Or perhaps the builders abandoned these places as the dangers of their world grew. Now, drowned mobs drift through these ruins. Not quite alive, not quite gone. Some believe they are the final remnants of ocean settlers who once lived here, changed slowly by magic and water. The presence of these drowned adds another layer of mystery. Their quiet gurgling, their slow movements, their tendency to guard the ruins as if fulfilling duties they no longer understand. Every underwater ruin feels like a piece of that forgotten coastal world. Then there are the ocean monuments, towering structures built entirely from prismarine, glowing faintly in the blue depths. Their walls form perfect angles. Their corridors stretch in clean geometric patterns. The design is too elegant to be random. Inside these monuments swim guardians and elder guardians, creatures with eerie movements and glowing eyes. Some believe the builders created these guardians as protectors, assigning them to defend something valuable inside the monuments. Others think the guardians came later, drawn to the magical energies within these structures. The monuments contain vast treasure chambers filled with gold blocks. Why gold? Perhaps it was a sacred resource. Perhaps it powered ancient machines now lost. Perhaps it was meant as an offering to whatever forces the builders feared or respected. The monuments stand like silent fortresses, untouched by time. To build structures underwater on such a massive scale, the builders must have possessed knowledge far beyond modern villagers. They understood water flow, pressure, and materials that resist erosion. Their engineering was advanced, their craftsmanship precise. What purpose the monuments served remains uncertain, but their design suggests ritual importance, protection, or perhaps research into ocean magic and deep water mysteries. In the coldest biomes, snow falls softly across towering peaks. The wind is crisp, carrying faint echoes that drift between the cliffs. These mountains appear quiet and untouched, but many contain hidden corridors carved into their stone. These chambers are not natural. They match the intentional geometry of builder works. Inside, you may find carved pillars, storage chests, and remnants of early experiments. Some tunnels appear to have been used for mining rare materials like emeralds, which are found only in mountain biomes. It seems the builders valued these mountains for reasons beyond resources alone. Perhaps they studied the stars from high altitudes. Perhaps they sought isolation. Or perhaps these mountain chambers served as safe refuges during times of chaos. Some chambers contain carved symbols in the walls. Simple, repetitive, almost like attempts to communicate something important. These symbols appear nowhere else in the world. They may be warnings, they may be maps, or they may be messages left for future survivors, written in a language no one remembers. The mountains keep these secrets held tightly behind stone. Deep within the warm jungles, vines hang from tall trees, and sunlight filters softly through dense leaves. Hidden within the greenery, you may find jungle temples. Their moss-covered stone walls rise in pyramidal shapes, blending seamlessly with the surrounding forest. Inside, complex redstone mechanisms still function, firing arrows or revealing hidden chambers. These mechanisms demonstrate that the builders did not just live in one place. Their influence reached the most remote biomes. The jungle temples may have been research stations, shrines, or vaults holding rare artifacts. Their traps suggest secrecy. Their structure suggests alignment with stars or sun paths. Every detail hints at deliberate design. The presence of levers, observers, and redstone circuits shows the builders' deep understanding of engineering, even in the wildest parts of the world. Modern villagers could not have built these temples. They would not know how. Only the builders could have created structures so precise, so mechanical, and so deeply hidden in nature. The desert temples tell a similar story, but one filled with more worry. Their large sandstone structures rest quietly beneath the hot sun, decorated with orange and cyan patterns that may represent ancient symbols. Inside, their central chambers hold pressure plates linked to hidden explosives, suggesting the builders feared something. Perhaps thieves, perhaps monsters, perhaps forces from another dimension. These traps are far more lethal than the jungle mechanisms. They show urgency, or perhaps desperation. The treasure rooms below often contain enchanted books, golden apples, and rare materials. Whatever these items were meant for, they were important enough to protect at any cost. Some believe desert temples were defensive vaults. Others think they were ritual sites intended to hold or contain something dangerous. The long, echoing halls and perfectly symmetrical chambers support both interpretations. Now, these temples sit silently under the shifting sands, their secrets sealed in stone. Every biome, every ruin, every temple and chamber reveals another chance to understand the builders' creative minds. They explored every corner of their world. They built across mountains, oceans, jungles, and deserts. They studied magic, redstone, architecture, and survival. And when their world began to fall apart, they left behind their knowledge in these silent structures. Now, players who explore slowly, calmly, and with curiosity can rediscover the stories hidden in the environment. Each ruin is a memory. Each structure is a whisper. Each biome is a chapter of a story still unfolding. The overworld is a living canvas painted by those who came before. Its history may be quiet, but it is always there, waiting for someone patient enough to listen.